Hey guys, Fox here, and today it is time to look at the 2024 UFL Award winners according to you, the fans. That's right, I put out not a couple, but a bunch of community posts a couple weeks ago, before the playoffs started, asking you all who you thought deserved to win each award. Now, technically, we actually have 6 on this one, even though there's supposed to be a Sportsman of the Year award winner that hasn't been announced yet, at least not while I'm recording this video on Thursday, or on Friday, I should say. Then, of course, we have the issue of one of these that I have on here. It wasn't even, announced at all and might not happen. The point is, we are looking at these awards according to you, the fans. I'm going to give my thoughts. I'm going to share what the league thought about it and go over all in all about that kind of stuff. So, if you end up enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's get started with the MVP, Adrian Martinez. He won the fan poll by a pretty decent margin. This one had almost 200 votes, and he got almost 50% of them at 46%. Biggest shocker here was Jake Bates at 15%. AJ McCarron getting 29% isn't a big shocker. You'll see why after this. But overall, hard agree. Look, if I had posted this past week after the playoff game, it probably would have been a lot lower, despite the fact that it's a regular season award. Look, I get what the argument is for, Luis Perez. He was a very valuable player to his team and all that. And, do I agree that without him it's a bigger difference than without Martinez? Yes. But as I said before, I cannot justify giving MVP to a guy who won 3 games. I just can't. Yes, because especially, I get it kind of helps his case as well, but when he played bad, it was a huge reason why they lost. He didn't even have to play all that well, he just had to play decent and they would have beat Houston, and instead he had his worst game of the season and they lost. And I get that some would say that helps his case. It's just, again, 3 wins a bit less, and the fact is he wasn't that statistically dominant. He was dominant passing in a lot of ways, but as overall stats, like overall yards, total TDs, it's not like he obliterated people. He didn't even, it's not like he had 25 touchdowns and next had less than 20, okay? Martinez was 1 or 2 TDs behind him in total TDs. He was very close to him in total yards. So it's not like he was that statistically dominant to where it's oh, you have to give it to him even though he lost a lot of games. As for Jake Bates, the first half of the season, he had an argument. The second half, no. Said it before, people seem to forget that the second half of the season he really wasn't that good. Yes, he had that one incredible, I believe it was 5-for-5 game, or 4-4 against DC if I remember correctly. But the fact is, it was either DC or Arlington. Arlington had the game winner, I know that. But the fact is, overall, he had a shot to get the game-winning field goal over Birmingham. He missed it. Then he had that one game against the Showboats where he missed both of his kicks. Then he had another game against the Showboats where he missed a kick. He finished at a 77% field goal. I don't even think he should have been all UFL, let alone an award winner, let alone MVP. If he had remained almost perfect, then yeah. But since he didn't, I don't agree with that. AJ McCarron getting the second most votes is crazy. Look, people act like without AJ that team would have been awful. People forget that Manny Wilkins did win a game. Yeah, he didn't win both games, but he did win one of his starts. It's not like Manny was abysmal, even though he's not great and he's not even really decent passing. He was still, it's not like he, came in there and threw 18 interceptions in 2 games. You know what I mean? He did throw 3, but one of those was at the very end of a game, blah, 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 blah. Point is, no way AJ should have won MVP. He had, coming into the season, the best skill position group according to most people, what proved to be, at least receiver-wise, the best skill position group in the league. Yet, MVP, it had to be Martinez. I agree with it, the fans agree with it, and the league agrees with it. As for Offensive Player of the Year, there's not really much to talk about. Hakeem Butler didn't only win the award, not only do I agree with it, he dominated the fan vote. He got 87% of the votes. Yes, Lovett got 7%, Hall and Sailors got 3%. Again, I would understand if you gave it to Hall, even though he got snubbed in all UFL because of, the QBs he had throwing to him. And Sailors had a really good season himself, very underappreciated this year. But Hakeem Butler, like I talked about, he had basically 2 weeks back-to-back where he did almost nothing, and he still had the receiving yards crown. Just think about that. He had 2 weeks where he did almost nothing, and then he still won the receiving yards crown. That's insane. That shows just how insane he really was this year. Definitely deserved it. Not really much to say. Again, almost all of you guys agreed that he deserved it. I agree with it. The league agreed with it. Then we have another one kind of like that, and that's DPOY, which ended up going to Breland Speaks. Both fans, me, and the league. Not really much to say. League leader in TFLs and sacks. It's pretty hard to go against that. Kai Nakua was the favorite for most of the season, but then the end of the year, Breland Speaks had a couple great games. Willie Harvey getting 19% was a shock, and I think that's, the Battlehawks tax, I guess you'll say, because he's a Battlehawks player. A lot of people just voted him for that. But even then, he was still a really solid linebacker. I would say definitely the best linebacker in the league this year. I know some people might, say it's a hot take over guys like, guys on the Brahmas or hell, even Mike Rose was really solid for the Battlehawks, even if statistically wasn't dominant. But I think that overall the award, at least to the fans, I kind of agree. Number 1 Speaks, 2 Nakua, 3 Harvey, 4 Fisher. I think that's honestly fair. I think that when you look at it, Breland Speaks was a very dominant player, especially at the end of the year, and I think he definitely deserved it. Even though, again, if I did this post-playoffs, he probably would have gotten less votes. But he definitely deserved it. I do agree again. Not much to say if we all agree on it, even though it's not the biggest degree. But again, kind of cool for a lot of the season was the favorite. It's just that the last 3 weeks of the season, Speaks just dominated. That game against Houston really, gave him the front running for that. And then the Week 10 game against Birmingham sealed the win for him. Now we get to one that's definitely weird, and that's Special Teams Player of the Year, because we have 3 point of views that disagree. The league disagrees, the fans disagree, and I disagree with all of each other. The fans voted 61% Jake Bates, 22% Darius Shepard, 11% Chris Rowland, 5% Andre Schmidt. Look, Jake Bates had a 77 field goal percentage. Again, you can't, there's no excuse in the world for that. That is not good. That is, his leg is incredible, but that is not accurate. That is not a great number. You want that to be above 85%, not 77. So, do I look at it and say that I disagree? Yes. I think that Chris Rowland deserved it. I don't even think Darius Shepard should have gotten that many votes. Again, Battlehawks tax in that one. It officially went to Chris Garrett, but I think Chris Rowland should have gotten it. I talked about it before. Rowland led the league in kick return yards by a very wide margin. He was up there in punt return yards and a lot of other stuff, had a kickoff TD. And then Jake Bates, again, it's hard for me to understand how a guy that wasn't accurate gets the award. Andre Schmidt was a much more accurate and reliable kicker than Bates, and he also had a big leg. Not as big a leg as Bates, of course, but still a good one. Overall, though, like I said, I disagree with the fans' vote, even for second place. I don't think Shepard should be second. Then the official one, Chris Garrett was the biggest upset of the year in terms of the award. So, it's just, it's 3 POVs. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about it. It's just, it's hard to go to Bates because it feels like we got so caught up in what he did in the first half of the season and that one game he had great post-Memphis that we kind of forget that as a season, he really wasn't incredible. He was great, but he wasn't, he didn't kick 20 of 22 with multiple 60-yarders, okay? He kicked 17 of 22. That's not a good number. So because of that, I disagree with Bates. I think Rowland got robbed, and I disagree with Garrett. Now, Coach of the Year, the last official award we have, the fans actually put him fourth. And they put Phillips at first, 44%, Beck at second, 23%, Holtz third at 20%, and Nolan fourth at 12%. This one had one of the most amount of votes of all of them and was the closest. First of all, Skip Holtz and Beck, honestly shouldn't have even gotten 10% of the votes either. And it's not even just Battlehawks tax, they both got it. Look, both those teams were expected by most people, just because I didn't think the Battlehawks were going to be, 7-3. Most people expected both those teams to be good. Them being good is not a Coach of the Year material. If they had gone undefeated, either of them, then yeah, I could get it. But it's not like either of them really did a ton. Are you really going to give Beck, he had to deal with all those injuries because, woe is him. He's missing Ja'Cour Pearson. He only has, the best receiver in the league and then, one of the other top 10 guys in, Marcel Aitman, Hakeem Butler. And Skip Holtz, it's woe is him. He has 2 quarterbacks that would start on basically 50% of the teams. As for Nolan and Phillips, as I said it before, I think that if you were to just have a Coach of the Year, because the better coaching job was Nolan. Dealing with multiple QB injuries like he did, having E.J. Perry go down, having Danny Etling go down, having to play Lewerke and Perkins, right, to have it work out. Being able to win with any QB. Whereas Phillips, he did have his own fair share of injuries. Alex Millett destroying. Cody Latimer at the very end of the season, which, because at the very end it's not as big a deal as, the defense on the Panthers losing Frank Gidna. Overall, though, if you're doing it as one Coach of the Year award, it should go to Nolan. If you're doing a Coach and Assistant Coach of the Year, then Head Coach should go to Phillips because Phillips is, more the defensive guy. And the fact is that Marcel Bellefeuille was a incredible OC and the best OC in the league by far this year. So if you're doing an Assistant Coach, it should go to Bellefeuille, and then Head Coach should go to Wade. But if you're doing just Coach of the Year, which the league, at least at the moment, looks like is what they decided to do, I do think Nolan deserved it. I think getting fourth in that Coach of the Year pick is crazy. I think that he had a lot of bad stigma. I remember heading into the season, a bunch of people were like, why is Nolan even a coach? He's not that guy. And I'm just thinking, did you guys not see what he did last year? He turned the team from being garbage to respectable, and then turned them from respectable into a powerhouse. And if it wasn't for a admittedly a terrible call by him to kick the field goal in the second half and the second quarter, they could be in the championship game. But again, Wade Phillips, if he had won it, I wouldn't be against it. Again, the two of them clearly were the two best coaches in terms of a coaching job this year. So, not too upset that the fan poll, because again, I totally see why Wade deserved it. And so, with that, I'm fine with either of them. Then, assistant coach of the year, this is the one that we don't seem to have an official one on. As for who you guys voted on, you guys voted AJ Smith at 60%. Marcel Bellafui and John Chavis basically about the same, 19 and 18%. And then Chuck Long, as you guys can probably imagine, I was just like, who do I put as a fourth guy? I guess I'll put the Renegades OC on there. 3%. Look, AJ Smith definitely won this because he's the biggest name, not because he's the best OC. Again, I hate to say it, but Marcel Bellafui did a much better job. When you consider the fact that he had heading into the season, what was considered a less talented offensive roster. Remember, they drafted Corey Coleman and then he retired. They lost their massive addition. Wes Hills went down with an injury. I always forget to talk about that. Wes Hills at the end of the year missed a bunch of games because, got put on IR. They lost, multiple QBs. Marcus Sims at the very end of the season had issues. The offense had a couple weeks bad early on, but then once you got basically like that Houston game early in the season, then after that, they had like one or two stinkers, but overall were an incredible season. Whereas AJ Smith, there was a lot of times during the year you're like, AJ Smith directly is an issue with the team. That one decision to pass the ball that Dormade threw an interception on in that one game was really crazy, and there's a few other instances of that. Overall, I think that, though, honestly, John Chavis probably could have won this award, and I wouldn't have been upset at it. The fact is, you can clearly tell, if you weren't even a fan of the league, and you were told to quickly watch every game and predict what week he, was gone, you could tell what game it was. That's how big an impact it was when he left. That defense went from being a truly elite, probably the best or second best unit in the league, to being a still top 4, but how good is it really? Like that when he went out. So for assistant coach of the year, I kind of disagree. I think that both the guys that are currently above AJ Smith on that, poll right there, literally, I think both deserved it more than him. Again, we're not going to get an official one. Maybe we will, but at least at the moment it doesn't look like it. And so with that, that'll do it for what you guys decided to be the award winners. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with who, the fans picked. Again, this was you guys voting on this, so if you guys agree or if you're somebody who voted on somebody else, if your opinions changed since then and all that, let me know down below. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified since I upload any videos. Again, I am doing a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. I will be at the championship game on Sunday. As this video is going to come out, I'm already going to be in St. Louis. So again, if you want to meet up or anything, just go check the community post for the tab on that, or the community tab for the post on that. If you want to become a channel member and support the channel, it's as low as 99 cents a month. You get a bunch of benefits as well as an exclusive video every month about a sport that isn't the UFL. And as always, guys, have a great night.